Hey, what's up, y'all? We talking about actually encouragement right now. Like people rarely speak of that too. It touched my soul when I heard the topic. Like people talking about encouragement and stuff like that. Do you know that like the most successful people you run into contact with in any shape, form, or fashion had good encouragement?
Yeah.
And I have to ask you, I'm sorry. Excuse me, pardon me. Let you introduce yourself. I'm sorry.
All right. My name is Ashley. I am a philanthropist, a humanitarian. I believe in a God. I'm a different type of person, more spiritual, um, a realist. I've had a lot of life experiences. So, like, where I come from is from the truth. And that's all I'm going to give you. So,
And then you should head back to which you came, the truth. Truth
yep.
is always like it's truth seekers. You got to know it's something.
Yeah. You got to know it's something.
But man, I'm like kind of antsy because I'm like, what's that say? What's that say? What's that say now? Because I've seen so many of your videos, your lives, and everything. So I'm like, damn, how can I keep up with that? So um, I'm gonna keep it going though. Encouragement, though, it actually helps a lot of people like dealing with certain things and stuff like that. Like, and then there's negative encouragement too,
Right. Right. Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, man, listen. The let's talk about expectations first,
Go ahead,
because
go ahead.
expectations, it will set you up for success or it'll set you up for failure. And like sometimes depending on who you are or where you're from, your expectations may be different. So your expectations of a support system or somebody to back you up, it may be different from the next person. It may be just yourself encouraging you to move forward. It
Absolutely.
may be just, you know, one other person that's not the person that's supposed to be encouraging you, but however, that is your support system. So expectations to me is out the window because what they've told me and what they've made me believe is not necessarily true. It doesn't come from your family. It doesn't come from your blood. It doesn't come from, your lover or your significant other. It comes from you first because you have to project that in order for somebody else to pick it up and to be able to
You gotta
support you.
believe it if we don't nobody else believe it.
Exactly. You have to do that. And so when we set certain expectations for people, we may get let down and be set back because those expectations, that person couldn't fulfill them because
And
they're
I have to
trying to,
and I have to ask, whose fault is that?
it's your own.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah,
your,
yeah.
it's your own fault. It's your own fault because at the end of the day, God taught you, and I don't, not to even get the religious or this,
However you want to put it, however you want to phrase it, though, because somebody out there that knows what you know. You know what I'm saying?
right, 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 right. But you I mean you got to define things for yourself because in every doctrine that I've read, self-preservance was the first thing in everything. You got to take care of yourself in order to be able to learn who your creator is, who your God is, or whatever it is that you believe. You got to be able to do that. And in order to do that, you got to take care of yourself, your inner self, and learn who you are
And
because
then self-preservation should be natural, though. At the
it
same
should be
time,
natural.
it should
It
be,
should be
but
natural, but it's something that's also learned too. And if you
absolutely.
haven't learned that, then you'll still be out here as woe is me. I don't have any support. I don't have no family. I don't have this. I don't have that. But if you stop putting it off, I don't have family. I don't have support, and just put it on yourself. I support myself. I am enough for myself. You know, you'll turn things around so much faster.
You have a different output, so it won't even feel like it's any work either, though.
Exactly. It's natural. It's natural. Like once you learn these things, it becomes a routine, and you'll be able to block things away. Like, okay, well, I know that I'm in search of support, but when things aren't supportive on the outside, you'll be able to have that discernment to say, hey, I don't need to go to the outside anymore. I need to stick with me, because me is who's making it go.
Exactly.
These other people, they're not going to make it go. They don't see what you see.
At all. So when you have a goal, a common, well, no such thing as a common goal, unless you're over a superior or something.
Exactly.
But a common goal was like as in normal, as in getting things going. You as a person have to get you going. You have to take care of
Exactly.
you to actually make stuff happen for other people.
Right. Right. Because you know what? I've done research, and I've learned that the government is just a messed up place to be. It's a messed up thing to believe in. It's just totally chaotic, right?
Mhm.
And so when you go back to thinking about when you're in school, or for me myself, I knew that if I passed a certain level of science, then I would be able to be advanced, right? But when I look at the numbers of how many kids advance to physics, it's not very many. And that is where the determining point comes in, of how many successful kids we have coming out of this high school, or how many successful kids we have coming out of this elementary, or however it goes, based on that timeline of them being able to reach physics.
Right, and then you have to remember in our time frame. I'm not going to age myself, but I think we I think we're in the same age group to where we actually went to school with those Japanese kids,
Right.
and actually did things, and they were ahead of their time. They knew things and everything, and that made us, mind you, have
Exactly.
no room for error. We had to be on top on our P's and Q's while everybody else sailed along. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes, exactly. I mean, I'm an African American. I don't appear to
I
be.
sugarcoated it though.
You know what I'm saying?
But
So like coming up in a predominantly African American school, oh my God, it was horror. It was torturing, if you will. You know what I'm saying? But that is the stigma that has been placed on a group of one individual culture. You know
uh,
what I'm saying? It is to block you out. It is to, you know, I don't know.
no,
It's
it's to distract you.
to
Let's
distract
just
you.
say that.
Exactly. To distract you. However, you always you come out good if you have a good, good support system, like we were talking about before.
And that's where things get kind of heavy at though.
It gets really shaky. It gets really
Yeah.
shaky there, because everybody needs support right now in this day. And the type of support just depends on the type of person. But there's so many different people out here experiencing life in so many different ways that we cannot assist everybody at this time. So that is why I wanted to encourage people to be your own encouragement, really,
Well, and
because
that's hard. That's hard though, because
it is
you
hard.
meet those woe is me's though. You meet a lot of them.
It is very hard. It's very hard, but I'm telling you, if you learn to do this, you will cut yourself short of some heartbreaks in the future.
Oh no, you're not
Because
telling me. I know.
I mean, I'm
I
just
know.
saying, for the people who may be listening though, you
The
know what I
people that
mean?
will listen, yes, that's the
Yes, for the
absolute
people
truth.
who will listen, you might not have that. So the best thing is to become your own support system, because at that point, you're not looking at anybody else's expectations, anybody else's standards. You're setting your own standards. You're setting your own goals to reach on your own. And it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say. And that's the downfall of our community right now, is because nobody can see the sun shining. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just sees the darkness trying to get to the sun shining,
Or they see the shade.
or they see the shade. And you know, that right there is the most disheartening thing about the shade, because when I think about shade, I think about jealousy.
And that term comes from, and we made it into something.
We
Throwing
did.
throwing shade,
We did.
the shade room. You know, I mean, we made that, and that's disheartening to know that like we actually against it ourselves, literally.
But you know what? We have created most of our trauma in present day because we're still stuck, even though there is like systematic racism in slavery, still present day slavery, and all of these things, right? But we still have created a box around us in our culture to say that, hey, this is how things go when this happens, or expectations again. You know what I mean? It's false expectations because every African American you come across doesn't believe the same thing as the next African American.
And that's very true across the board. And it
Across the board.
ranges like in the variance of everything. You won't believe some things, you will believe. Some things are
Yep.
so common they're not common. You
Yep.
know, I mean,
And you
let's
know,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I was gonna say we've gotten so far away from common as well that common sense isn't even common anymore. It's
Oh my
bogus,
gosh, you said this statement, and I can't hear it enough.
man. Listen,
I can't comprehend what somebody else knows.
we need to wake up.
Yeah.
We
Um,
gotta wake up.
I'm doing a show Tuesday. If you're not busy, we talking about people waking up and people being fake waking up and all that type of stuff though. Because
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I can look at you and tell I can understand your words and everything. You talk how you walk.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
There's nothing, no fraud or anything. I know that. I already know that. That's why I've been wanting this interview to happen. Honestly, this is the whole point.
Yeah.
You know, and it's something I can take the mom and be proud of. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, you know,
Right.
it makes these 2 years of me doing this worth it.
You know what? And I was speaking to my friend the other day, and we were talking about time, right? And time is a funny thing because you can do the right thing with time and you can do the wrong thing with time. Like millionaires and billionaires and all these successful people, we got the same time in a day. It's what you do with it, right?
Absolutely.
And so when I was talking to her, I was telling her like, I'm gonna go live and I'm gonna mean it. Not that I didn't mean my previous lives or anything like that. It was just that I needed to really put my heart into it because I know that this is what I'm supposed to be doing. I have a voice for it. I
And,
have
and
following for it.
no disrespect, but when you talk, people listen.
And when I talk, people listen. And that's my message. That was my message to her because sometimes you don't know who's watching you
All the time, you don't know.
and why they're watching you, though. No
And it's
matter how bad you think your life is, or no matter how bad your situations are that you're going through, people are watching.
absolutely. And it's always
And
important to do the right thing at every time, even when nobody looking.
exactly, exactly. So I told her, I said, I'm gonna get real serious about this thing because, man, and not to ask for pity or people to feel bad or anything like that, but I've experienced some things, man, and I know how people probably feel who are experiencing the same thing.
Or I could let me piggyback on what you just said. The things you experienced, I wouldn't know how to feel about it. So
Right,
what I gathered from you is strength.
right. Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's some things I don't know about, some things I don't want to witness, and then it goes full circle too.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? But if you got the strength and actually give that information, people are always watching. People are always listening.
Yeah. You're right. You're
And
right.
and never let them make you sweat. And also, people want to see you fucking sweat.
Yep. But you got to pick which side you're going to go on.
Mhm.
Because when people see you sweat, they'll be more inclined to pick at you and to
Of
make
course,
you sweat.
of course, of course.
So you got to make sure you stand your ground, you know?
And know what you're getting into before you get into it.
Exactly.
Do it for a
Exactly.
reason, not no treason.
Exactly, man. That's what it's all about. But it's so many people out here that's hurting. It's so many people out here that has taken a loss and don't understand it. It's so many people out here who's trying to figure out life, never had nobody to explain to them how life goes, or even bills. You can get down all the way down to education. Like, it's so many lacking factors in our community, not just our community, but in the community, period.
Absolutely,
You know what
absolutely.
I'm saying? That we need to start filling those gaps. Because if we don't start filling those gaps, we're gonna be our well, not we might be okay, but
Yeah, but
our
but like
children,
they say,
and
each one teach one. There's a gap in between it though.
there is a gap because you got people who don't want to spread the knowledge. They don't want to share. They didn't reach to where they needed to get. They're good. And they don't want to break it down to the younger generations to let them know, like, hey, you might have it hard, you might have it rough, it might be tough, but this is how you get through this stuff. This is how you prevail out of these situations. You know what I'm saying? You don't, and you know what? The other thing that I don't understand about the older generation of ours is they've been through it. They know.
Even worse though.
Even worse. You know what I'm saying? But they still will not sit our younger generation down and let them know what they've experienced and how things went for them because they're too ashamed and too prideful to do so. Because they got where they are, they want to be there. They want to stay there. They want to be, you know, um, what's the thing on super figures? I don't know. What do they call it? Action, I mean, not action figures, but superheroes. They want to be those guys and those those girls, but they don't want to tell you how they got there because they want to keep that position, which is why this world is in the place that it's in now. We got so many older people who wanted to keep the position and didn't want to teach anybody else. So now those people are dying off and retiring and don't have the ability to teach and to
And
spread the
and,
word.
and then that's a disconnect too.
And then what?
There's a disconnect too.
There was a
On
disconnect.
on top of that, like I'm the type of person I want my flowers where I'm here. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll
There was a
show
lot of
you.
backwards teaching though. There's a lot of backwards teaching. And see, you know what? I'm I'm a firm believer that knowledge is power, right? But I believe what type of knowledge you have can be powerful
Absolutely,
because
absolutely.
there's a lot of information out there that could just do you no justice. Like when we're in elementary
Useless.
school, you know what I'm saying? Then you go to high school and you learn some new stuff. And then you go to college and then you got to unlearn everything that you've learned to be able to learn what they need you to know at that point in time. Because the world goes around and it changes all the time.
Listen to me. I got taught cursive, and then I learned how to indent a paragraph,
Exactly.
use
And
commas and
then
stuff. That's irrelevant now.
come on, because the computers do everything for us. You don't have to, you could just put in what you want to write, what you want to say. And then Grammarly or Word or whatever it is editing whatever you put in it to make it correct or to look correct or to
Right.
sound right when somebody else is reading it, you know? So The world is evolving. It's an evolutionary world. Everything is changing constantly, every second, every minute. And if you're not willing to do the same thing, you're gonna get left behind.
Absolutely. And you got to think
So
about these computers. They say it's computer driven. Somebody programmed those computers. Computers
come
break
on,
down.
come on, come on, man. Like the computer breakdown. Matter of fact, if your stove stop working in this day and time, or your washer and dryer stop working in this day and time, it's probably not because it's not functional. It's because the computer in it, the switchboard in it, is bad.
Mhm.
So people go out here and buy a whole new washer and dryer,
And
or
I be
a
like, let me
whole
get that.
new.
I just switch up the hit the reset or something and have a brand new one just going.
Exactly. Just to switch it out because everything is touchscreen. You know what I'm saying? But it's still computerized. And that's how they're making money. Just like with this, man, look, I can go in for days for real on all of this stuff because even the pharmaceutical world,
Oh,
they they,
go
they
ahead.
gotta be evolutionary in some way too. Now there's a pill you can take for COVID. Come on. Come on. Really?
And
I
it's so
think,
far away from our vaccines just to go to preschool.
but listen, it don't make sense to me why people don't understand what's really going on. Because when we were kids in our time, not to tell our age, we had chicken pox and stuff like that,
You ain't see
right?
no COVID party. You go over there with your cousins. You go ahead and catch the COVID or your chicken pox or some shit. Hey, it's different now. It's way different now.
It is different, but look, guess what? The pharmaceutical world got to make money, right? So they're gonna be coming out with stuff out their ass, excuse my language, every trip they get.
No, you can cuss over here.
I just, just for me, I don't really like
Oh yeah, understood. You can get your point across without swearing.
to. Exactly. And that's my whole point. You know, um, man, listen, it's so many things out here that people need to be aware of. People need to wake up and really acknowledge, because if we don't acknowledge it, it's just gonna get worse. Things aren't gonna get better.
And then how big can a rug be to sweep so much shit under it?
Come on, man. I mean, and that's the thing right now. That's what we're seeing right now. There's no more room under the rug for them to sweep it under there. So even the people who halfway got it are getting it. You know what I'm
Mhm,
saying?
mhm.
Like even the people that halfway got it are getting it because there's no more room under the rug and some shit is left out to be able to be seen. And so that's why everybody is a little bit like, okay, well, it's not making sense.
But the
How
the
did,
overfilled rug isn't a distraction.
yeah, right,
It should
right.
be, but it isn't. They throw shit out there.
Listen, we definitely have to get together again and listen, like just expose some stuff because you will feel, you know what? I want to expose the stuff and I want to talk about it to the people who really can resonate with me, because you will feel like an outsider and you will be borderline suicidal trying to figure this stuff out. But they're not alone. People aren't alone because,
They think they are. The
but
vast
they're not.
majority feel that way too. And you got to think about it. We've been in holes, we've been in dark holes and stuff too. How we get out? Felt like it would never happen, right?
You know what? You thought the sun wasn't gonna shine. But I like to
Exactly.
say that. I like to use this too. I like to use this because it works. When you go to bed at night, it might be bad. Things might not be in your favor. But when you wake up, no matter how you feel, no matter what you're going through, no matter what it is, the sun is still shining.
It's just you to pick the side of the sun you want to be on.
It's your choice. You have a choice, like depression. People like to, I don't want to get too deep off into that,
Well,
but
no, let me say this first though. And you know what though? I'm gonna say this. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Let's go.
let's go.
But we didn't know what the shit was, depression was. It's part of
And
living.
it was planned that way. See, you know what?
Man,
when you're up under somebody else's government, when you're governed by somebody else, you must know that there is a plan. You must know that there is an agenda, right? So in those plans of our government, they did not want us to know certain things. They did not want us to be able to label and identify certain things because we could receive compensation for it.
Not only that, we can actually fix things too.
And you,
Compensation is not exactly the same as rehabilitation.
you know what? You know what? You're right. However, what's everybody asking? What? Okay, not everybody, but the majority of African Americans, what are they asking for?
Reparations.
Reparations.
Okay, but I have a question. Would it be okay in cash or education?
Well, it depends. It depends on the person because you might have somebody that's educated like myself on depression and things still might be shaky.
Absolutely.
Eat my money.
Let me figure it out.
Let me figure it out. Because that was y'all plan in the first place. Now I do realize that there's some people out there that can't figure it out on their own and they don't recognize it. They don't understand that they have a choice to wake up, not even to wake up, but to go forward with feeling certain ways. You know what I'm saying? Some people don't understand that. So they might want the knowledge. They might need a mindfulness class or a class to where they can just release everything and not be judged, because that's the other thing. People judge people so badly that nobody wants to tell anybody their experiences because they're embarrassed. When really, it's nothing to be embarrassed about because everybody go through some shit, man. Everybody.
Absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
different shit.
Hey, but with that being said, I'm gonna send this to you. I'm gonna upload it, send it to you, and then Tuesday, 8 p.m. We're gonna continue.
Got you.
And thank you. Been
Hey.
been the interview of the year for me.
Listen, I want to thank you for the opportunity though. Honestly, I do. For the platform, for everything, because I didn't have I didn't have the drive or the push to go ahead and go forward. But tonight it was just something that was on my soul. Like, no, get up, get up.
Same here.
And that's what I did. And I'm grateful and I'm thankful that I listened because hey, these are the things that make things go forward and make are a part of the big movement. You know what I mean?
Absolutely, absolutely. Excuse me, the bed head and everything. Like, some moved me to get up and do it. So,
Look, I'm telling you, it was just something that made me get up out of bed, even out of bed, just like this. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Let's go. I
hell
text
yeah.
you, and we made it happen. So let's keep making it happen.
All right, for sure. Tuesday, 8 p.m. Don't disappoint me.
I'm not, man.
All right, it's been all real, all love too.
All real, all love this way too.
All right, for sure.